Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of UHS Presents. I'm here. I'm sick. I'm super sick, in case you can't tell from my voice. But I'm your host, Sarah, and Lori is with me as always. And how are you, Lori? I hope not sick.
Not so far. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to make John do all the talking, I think.
Yeah, I guess. It sounds a lot worse than it is, though, because I actually feel fine now. It was really shit. Like, we did our live stream on Tuesday for the Kickstarter, and then like Wednesday morning I woke up and I was like, well, I guess today I'm dying. And it was just miserable for like 3 or 4 days, and then it's just this is lingering now. So I sound like I really feel like shit, but I feel okay.
You got to sing all the low parts now while it's all.
Yeah, that's
right?
that's a good part of it. It's like it dropped my voice a few notes, didn't it? A few keys, whatever. I sound more serious now because my voice is lower, so I don't sound
That's
so
true.
childish. Because that's a thing.
Yes.
So, and yeah, like we said last week, we launched Miss Medusa's Monsters Menagerie, and I'm gonna put the link down here so that you can go back it or at least check it out and like it and share it, because we like when you like and share.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We're just shy of 300 backers right now, which is unbelievable. It's awesome. I'm so excited to get you guys this book. It's really fun. It's crazy. Yeah, it's almost done. Paul, I think, has just a couple pages left, and it's...
Yeah, and Katie might just escape with her sanity after all. There's just
barely.
There's just a little bit more left of the, like, Paul has given her all the worst shit that he can come up with, and he's like, if she survives this one, then she's a keeper.
Right, exactly.
So, besides Miss Medusa, what other news do we have today?
That's the main thing, I guess. Thank you, Fish.
Yes, thank you, Fish.
It's an awesome series. Everyone's been asking me. I'm going on a bunch of shows over the next 2 weeks, and everyone's like, "Can you send me issue 1?" And I send it to them, and they're like, "Wow, this is really good." Yeah, that's
fantastic. And I was like, but we knew that already. We already knew it was awesome.
Why we're making more of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The Surgeon 5, it's on the press, so like we should get it soon. I had a bit of a hiccup with Comics Wellspring. They emailed me and sent me the proofs, and I emailed them back immediately approving them, and then they never got my email, and there were like email server delivery issues or some shit, so I started emailing them from it was a nightmare, but it's all fixed now, and hopefully they're hurrying it up and printing it so we can send you guys the physical issues.
Yes, that would be good.
And Fish, your cover looks amazing, and the holofoil version of it is so cool. I'm gonna send you some. I hope you like it, but
Fish is done. I'm mostly done sending out Green Zone, right? I can't wait to get mine, and Fish, don't worry, like, it's safe. I know I should have gotten it by now, but we had a little mix up, and my copy went to Lori, and Lori's copy went to Lori, so she's gonna mail it to me when she sends me more surgeons, so I just have to wait a little longer. But it's okay, because, like, you didn't do anything. It's all good. Yeah. And I'm so excited to read it because, I mean, all the hype, right? I've been waiting for this thing for months now, so, like I'm just really excited. Yes. And, but just so that if Mike's watching, if Mike knows, Vigilance came to me. So I got my Vigilance, but Lori got my Green Zone.
That was my mistake.
Everything's
not
okay. It's just
mistake.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, it's old. Yeah, so it's it won't happen again now, thankfully, but at that one time we had to do stuff. It's fine now though. And
awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know, I might as well just address it. If y'all are watching and you see my shit, just lock the hell up. Let me know, because now we need to know, because apparently I'm having some internet issues and we've been trying to figure it out and we can't. But the more we know, like, how often and when it's locking up, I can tell my IT guy to get it figured out.
Yeah, and we want to make sure it's like you guys are seeing it and it's not just me and it's my internet and like there's some testing going on.
It might be some of your internet, but it's definitely not all your internet because it's definitely happening. On like I had to do the worst thing in the world, and that's watch my own face as I played it back, and like y'all need to I keep every time I have to watch it, I'm like, God, am I really that annoying? I am so annoying. Do you guys think I'm annoying because I'm so annoying?
I hate it. I hate watching myself or listening to myself or anything.
Yeah, it's the worst, and I'd love it if y'all would tell me when it happens for me so that I don't have to do that, because that is a special form of torture. So, today we are talking about all kinds of shit, like maker stuff and maker stuff specifically in cosplay, which both Lori and I are involved in different ways. Like, I do a little cosplay, but mostly I like to make shit and sew shit for cosplay, whereas Lori also makes stuff for cosplay. You do a lot more than you like to let on, that you build a lot of your own stuff. But like, I help her too. I help her with that, and she gets to show it off, which I know everybody has seen all of the amazing photo shoots that she does, and but there's also not just the costume aspect, obviously. You have accessories, and sometimes those accessories can shoot fire. So we brought a guy on that makes the accessories shoot fire, and we're going to talk to him. And his name is John Springer. Everybody say hi to John. Hi, John.
Hey, guys. Good to be here.
Are you okay, Sarah?
It's fine. Everything is fine. Sometimes when I cough, that makes the laryngitis worse. I don't get it. It's so weird.
It's gonna be okay. Make sure you have some water or some whiskey.
I have a cauldron full of potion. And I also have 2 bags of cough drops. So we're good. Prepared. These are berry flavored. Did you know Ricola makes berry flavored?
That must taste way better than the regular ones.
They taste like they're really, really good, but then there's like an aftertaste that's kind of like vomit. So if you can handle that, it's very weak, but it's totally there. So
the regular ones, I think, are kind of like floor cleaner, so it's got to be a step up from that.
Yeah, it's probably the floor cleaner, but like there's berry covering it, so they just need to make the berry flavor a little stronger. So
anyway, the Lysol flavor, yes. So
why do you know what Lysol tastes like?
Well, it tastes like how Lysol smells.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right? I haven't.
Fish says, awesome mic, John.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the unnecessary LEDs like totally make it awesome.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I kept looking like I'm supposed to be making eye contact via the mic, but I keep looking down or eye contact via the cam. Duh. But then I keep looking down because it changes colors. It's very distracting.
It's distracting, so your eyes like drift over. Why doesn't it shoot fire though? That's the.
I know.
I know, right? So that's the next step with it.
It doesn't shoot fire yet.
Something up here. We'll try it. Maybe by the end of the podcast, we'll have it shooting fire.
There we go.
For science.
Hang on. I got it. We're gonna enhance this. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
So this might be the first live stream where somebody accidentally sets themselves on fire.
Let's at least get see if we can get this going here.
Jeff says enhance in big capital letters. He's ready.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Right?
That's perfect.
Little ambiance.
I like that. Okay.
I mean, for cosplay, like right here, these little guys. I mean, this thing cost me, I think, like $40 on Etsy. There is no way it would take way more than $40 of effort to make this thing. So the fact that you can just buy one of these for your costumes, pretty rad.
Yeah, but why buy it for $40 when you can make it for $200 with craft stuff? Like
exactly. You understand how this works. You get it. Not everyone understands that.
I'm very happy with myself. Like this whole little mini cosplay, $0.
Nice.
All shit that I already had. Weirdly enough.
Well, you needed smoke. We all needed a little smoke.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought about taking some activated charcoal and like throwing it around behind me and stuff to like complete the explosion
Yeah.
look, because it like I did all my like obviously I was involved in an explosion, but there's not enough explosion behind me.
Yeah.
Yay, John brought us some porn bots. Go, John. We got porn bots today. Woo!
Nice. Popular. I'm
There
popular
we
with
Ever get
okay.
porn bots? We only get
So-
porn bots for the best guests.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah.
Well, maybe like why don't you tell us about how you got into all of this and what you do and show some stuff off and I don't know, just go nuts.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like I've been threatening to do YouTube videos for like a really long time, and I'm finally, I think, at a point where maybe I can actually make that move forward. I've invested a lot into like all the camera gear and everything, but obviously, like you have to have content to kind of go along with it. So I've got like years of experience of being like a chemistry teacher and just having roommates that were really good engineers throughout college that kind of taught me how to make a lot of stuff. So I guess that set me on a path where I was like, all right, there's all this cool like sci-fi cosplay stuff, and I kind of enjoy all that. I enjoy making the costumes and everything. But how much of this can we actually make real? Like, how can we push it in that direction? And there's of course other YouTubers and stuff that do that sort of thing. There's James who does the the Hacksmith channel. He's a pretty cool guy. So he's got that going. There's a lot of others, Jay Laser, and a bunch of others that just try to take sci-fi concepts and make them real. So after kind of viewing a lot of the stuff that they did, I was like, okay, they do some pretty cool things, but I think there's a lot that hasn't been done in this space. So I kind of want to go there and hit all that kind of stuff up. So yeah, I've been blowing stuff up and kind of just putting together a bunch of videos like over time, just to kind of get into that space and to do stuff like that. I mean, I can just reach around me like here for some stuff that I actually worked on with Lori's brother-in-law, Kurt. He helped me design this little arc reactor that we have here. So I went online and I wanted an Iron Man costume that had his new chess piece on it. So we went online. We're like, oh, surely you can just hop on Etsy and you can just buy one of the files and 3D print it for yourself or whatever. There wasn't anything really there. So we ended up having to just kind of cobble it all together ourselves from a bunch of reference images and everything. And so we came up with this, which is, super accurate to the movie. Like you can pretty much hold this one next to the one that was the real one, and you're going to get a really good match. And we had it so it all lights up and everything in there. And we even took it a little step further. We have this whole coil system that you can wear underneath your shirt right here. So you can actually make it so this thing will charge people's phones. All they have to do is just take their phone, hold it up to your chest, and it starts juicing it up. Of course, we have like the magnets and stuff with it. So, it just slaps on and stays on there. So
What made you take the extra step to add a phone charger? What made you think of that?
we were like, okay, I love making props and everything. And I think it's always really cool to have the costume aspect to it. But then there's a little voice always in the back of my head saying like, okay, can you make this like useful for me somehow on like the day-to-day use so I can justify it even further? So it's like, all right, I'll put a phone charger in it. And then when I wear it, I can just take it off and charge my phone. And of course, it even does the fast charging too, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's pretty cool.
And handy for conventions.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's probably surprisingly handy for conventions.
Exactly, yeah. And we put up the files on Etsy and a bunch of different places, and people can download it. They could buy the files. And I mean, we didn't make like a fortune off of it or anything, but we made a little bit off of it. And now the files are out there for free. And at least from what I've seen in the cosplay community, if you're doing an Iron Man suit that's one of the newer ones, this is like the go-to file that everybody uses for the chest piece. So
Cool. Well, that's nice. It's a name recognition, even if you're not getting paid anymore for it. That's pretty cool.
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's just a
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And obviously, we hyped up the fire element here so much that so what was the first thing that you made shoot fire?
let's see. It might have actually been a nitrocellulose shooter. And actually, I think I have some nitrocellulose here. So let me grab it. It's right next to me. You can actually light some on fire. Have some fire.
We're gonna have some fire, yeah.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah, I got to meet John once. He is He is a mile a minute idea guy, I think. And you guys hang out with him all the time, don't you? So you guys must come up with them. Like there must be some pretty interesting conversations when you get into the topic of cosplay and the weapons and the other technology, like the Iron Man part of it. I mean, that must get pretty interesting.
Well, before John does fire, I can show this off. He actually helped me. It's not all going to fit on camera at the same time, but he helped me make this. It's Ray's staff.
Yes, and you've got like shit. Don't break anything. But you've got completed photos. Like you did a shoot with this, right? So like we can post that later on our Facebook page or something, so that y'all can see it in its
Really cool.
its complete glory, along with the costume and Lori posing her ass off, and you know.
Yeah, and the core rod is John. You know more. It's carbon fiber. What is it?
Oh,
What the hell is it?
We use polycarbonate for it, so that's like what they use in like the riot shields and the bullet resistant glass. So I mean, the whole idea with that thing was we need to make this out of materials that are strong enough that if you actually wanted to use it like Ray did and put a beat down on somebody, that it needs to actually be strong enough not to break and to hurt someone.
Jesus. Wow. Okay. Huge question here, because if you're a cosplayer who likes to go to conventions with your cosplays, you have encountered the problem of how the hell to get your cosplay to the convention. Does the Ray staff break down so that you can stick it in a suitcase or something? That's got to be the next step, right? Because then you have to make it like so that it can unscrew in the middle or something. But for now, it's fine, right? Because as long as you don't have to fly, that's where you run into trouble.
I can drive with it, right?
Yeah, you can stick it in a car; it'll be fine. But yeah, you gotta make preparations for cosplay if you are planning to travel by air, or even if you have an extra big cosplay and you travel by car, where are you gonna put it, right?
Yep. Or if you can somehow manage to mail your stuff to the location ahead of time, especially if you know somebody that happens to live in that city or something, that always helps too.
Yes, that's true. And it's cosplay. That's a good segue into, because mailing your cosplay to the city is not cheap, but cosplay in general, not cheap. So if you're really into it, you gotta either be creative or you gotta have a lot of money. And I imagine that your stuff, being that you have slightly more advanced stuff here, you must have a combination of both creativity and having to sink a lot of cash into it. Because that meant some of this stuff you can't just half-ass, right? You have to do the good job with it.
Well, and that's kind of the beauty, at least, of this hobby a lot now, is that the cost of parts have come down so much, especially for you to get into like the electronics world, where you can, a lot of people use Arduinos and things like that to control their lights. You can get an Arduino board now that is Wi-Fi compatible and all that kind of stuff. They're like $4. I mean, it used to be way more expensive for all of this stuff. And that's even at Amazon prices. That's not having to order it from China or something else.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you had a fire thing you were gonna do, right? We don't want to forget the fire.
So this is nitrocellulose. So you'll see like magicians use this, right, for magic tricks, making things disappear and having a little bit of flair to it. The fluffy stuff is usually a little bit more expensive and hard to get a hold of. Any of these that you buy online, they have to ship them in water because they can't just ship them through the mail because it's volatile. This stuff explodes, right? If you saw like Inglourious Bastards in that movie, they burned the whole place down with nitrocellulose film because they used to make movie reels out of this stuff, and it could just spontaneously combust and burn the whole theater down.
Sure, yeah.
So
I did not know that.
This is kind of the cool thing with this, right? Is this stuff is so volatile that it actually makes it safer. So here's a good example. So I'm going to take a little bit of this stuff, and I can just put it in my hand. I'll fluff it up a little bit so it poofs up. And it's cool because when it burns, it doesn't leave anything. There's like it all just is gone. So boom. Little tiny bit of ash or whatever on my hand right there, and it's gone. So you can put this stuff.
Does it just burn so fast that you didn't have a chance to get burned, or are your hands just dead skin?
Yeah, it's just I mean, To be fair, the other side of it is I do use my hands as like oven mitts all the time, so I think I've gotten pretty immune to it. But no, like had you have done the same thing, you would have been fine. It feels hot, but that's about it.
Okay.
So
That's
stuff's
cool.
pretty safe. And so this stuff can also be used as a propellant. So the first thing that I made was just a little tube that just had a little igniter from an RC car in the back of it, like one of the little things that just is like a spark plug basically for the RC cars. Have one of those in there, you hit a button and you can shoot fireballs out of your hand. And it's like the safe way to shoot fireballs out of your hand. It's what I used to use like in classrooms so I didn't have to worry about burning a kid or something.
This is important to not burn the children.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just a bad day usually when that happens.
Safety, but also legal problems. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Got to have a balance there.
And I mean, people use these on, like, if you go to stage performances, I've seen, I think I went to a play in, I think it was actually the Nutcracker in Helena. And they were using this stuff to like shoot at each other for whatever reason on some scene, or you can put it in like fake guns and use it. But yeah, it's neat stuff. And it comes in this paper format too. So I think they sell like $100 bills that are made out of this stuff. It burns a little slower. So I remember there's a really funny Tosh.0 episode where he got a hold of a whole bag of this stuff and was doing stunts with it. I think he made himself like a thong out of this stuff, and he like lit it, and he had like his assistants light it, and they're just like, "Oh my god!"
Of course he did.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Good skip.
I love that.
So neat stuff. So when you need like some kind of like fire thing, I don't know that like all the cons would be necessarily cool with you having this kind of stuff, but you might find some that like would be okay with this because it is used in like stage magic and stuff like that, and it's low key. And unless you're putting it in the middle of a bunch of other flammable stuff, the risk of fire is pretty low with it.
Right. Okay.
Cool. So you made a flame shooter with this stuff. From like your wrist. Okay.
Yep. So it's key pyro cosplay.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like the beginner pyro stuff since it's so safe to use as far as fire goes anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously, you wouldn't want to take it into a newspaper storage facility or anything like that, clearly.
Like the fireworks.
What the fuck are those? I don't know.
Fireworks. Yeah, fireworks.
Fireworks, yes. Yeah, I was thinking because, like, I grew up on a farm, right? And so I was thinking, like, don't take it into the haymow. That's where my mind went first. So what's the most recent thing that you made that involves pyro?
Pyrotechnic stuff. I was just working on this the other day. So this is actually something that Lori's helping me out with. I think I have the cosplay.
Ooh, I might know what this is.
So reaching more. Okay. Yeah.
Whoa. Pause button. The shirt. What the hell is that shirt? It's amazing.
You were breathtaking. It's the Keanu Reeves thing from where he was at.
I love that shirt.
Cyberpunk.
It took me a second to realize what I was looking at, and I was like, holy shit, that shirt's fantastic.
I love that shirt.
Nice.
It's such a positive little message to throw to people all the time, and it's hilarious.
It is.
But yeah, so I haven't cut off the little tabs on this from the 3D printing process, but you can obviously tell this is the Scarlet Witch crown. So we have that, and that's kind of the project that this is for, that Lori's helping me out with. So the idea is we're essentially building a system where if you've seen the movie or the movies, you've seen that she can shoot this like red energy kind of out of her hands. And we wanted to replicate that with fire because we have a certain color mixture of fire that looks just like that kind of red energy. It looks very ethereal, especially if it's kind of during the day, because the fire becomes more transparent than it normally does, but you have that really strong red in it. And so the idea is she's going to be able to shoot that stuff out of her hands and destroy stuff with it. We'll have some really cool targets for her to blow up. That'll look pretty cool. I'm working on some Ultron Sentry drones that are just basically Pepakura, like the papercraft shells on the outside, and you just fill them full of explosive gas like you do. And then, of course, gets hit with the fire, and then the whole thing explodes. And so in order to make this safe for her, she's kind of seen this. We have these special Nomex layers that go underneath the costume to kind of protect you from the fire as an added thing. We even have special sprays that we're applying to the whole costume that we have for her that kind of fireproof the whole thing. So if for some reason it does light on fire, it can't burn very well. It's like suppressed. So it's not safe, but it's not, unsafe either. You're shooting maybe 60 feet of fire out of your hands, on some of those bursts. Because the new system that I just tested, and this is where the new part of it comes in, is I started using CO2 to pressurize my stuff instead of propane. And propane's like 150 psi a push. CO2 can be anywhere from like 900 to a couple thousand psi. So it's shoving that stuff a lot further. For like comparison, I remember seeing like some World War II tanks that I think pushed about like 3,000 psi for their flamethrowers that they had on them. And those would go like football fields in length. So, I mean, we're not so far from that kind of level with it. So obviously you got, but at the same time, like it'll be a really cool spectacle to be able to do that level of pyrotechnics. And I was just testing out the CO2 systems the other day. It took a long time to track down valves that could take that pressure and were, 100% reliable. So I went with the ones that they use in cars for shooting your nitrous into your engine. So I was like, well, those have to be over-engineered to a really high spec. So
I assume, well, I hope that there's video documentation of some of this stuff so that we get to see on your YouTube eventually.
Yep, that's the plan. And we even have a con-friendly version of this thing, so you can use those same CO2 canisters and just run straight CO2 in them. So it's basically the opposite of fire. And you can use really bright LEDs with it so that it creates the illusion of the same effect, but you could use it indoors. And Lori got to check out the crazy bright red LEDs that we had for that when she stopped on by. We actually, like, when you use them at the con, we'd have to actually turn them down. And they were so powerful, like, we couldn't even look at it. We just shined them at the wall because we're like, this is going to burn our retinas out.
Blinding, yes.
Wow.
4 times brighter than the high beams on your car. That's like how much redness would be coming out of her hands.
Jeez. Well, I mean, probably not 4 times brighter than the high beams on my car, because my car is a piece of shit headlight.
Well, I trust John, and if I die, at least it'll be on camera, and it'll be very exciting. And
it will be spectacular death. Like, yes, it will be the best, like, the coolest death ever, probably. But, we prefer if you don't. So, try not to do that. It sounds like you are going way overboard on the safety stuff. So, it sounds pretty. I mean, like safe, right? Like safe.
Right.
TM.
This ain't a Michael Bay movie. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, I do believe we used, on the thumbnail for this video, we used you shooting fire out of a ukulele.
Yeah.
What inspired making instruments shoot flames?
I think I saw a video, I remember, of a guy with a trombone that acted as a flamethrower. And it's like, what? And then I went online. I'm like, surely this guitar thing has already been done. I looked and I was like, oh, wow, no, it's extremely rare. Like maybe there's some like Rammstein did it like a while back. And I think they still kind of do it with some of their stuff. But those videos were really hard to find, surprisingly. And there was like maybe one other video. The first time I did the flamethrowing guitar, I was like the top image search for flamethrowing guitar for like something like 3 years before they did the Mad Max. That was once the Mad Max.
Shit, okay.
And I think Colin Fures, he built a flamethrowing guitar as well, and then that showed up on there too. But I'm pretty sure I'm still up there in the results if you search it. So yay me! But yeah.
So you are the pioneer. We can just claim that. It's fine.
Well, besides like Rammstein, I suppose. But yeah, for like the smallest, like most compact system that could shoot 10 feet of fire, yeah, I think I'm the first guy there.
Yeah, you would think that there would be more flame shooting. I mean, with all the batshit crazy stuff that rock bands did in the 80s, how is this not a thing? That's wild.
There's got to be like a Kiss one out there, like that just isn't on the internet or something. They must have tried it at some point, because I know they played with fire, but maybe they just didn't mount it to a guitar. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the 80s was fucking nuts.
Huh.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's but I mean, super cool. I mean, it's really cool to see that your stuff ends up at the top of the search because nobody else did it. Like, I can't believe nobody else. Yeah, it's one of those, I can't believe nobody else had that idea, but also I'm kind of glad nobody else had that idea.
I think I might have the first Guitar Hero controller that could shoot fire that was actually functioning as a guitar at the time. So that one's
Wow, that's.
special.
I mean, there's a little bit of Ian Malcolm in here. Like you just wondered if you could have. You didn't think if you should have, because that one seems like maybe you shouldn't have done that. But as long as you're not marketing it and selling it, I guess it's fine. Because otherwise, there'd just be some houses burned down for that shit.
Yeah, we'll sell them on
So
Etsy next week.
you sent me a video the other day of you and your friend getting shocked by Tesla coils. Maybe you can give us some context.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Let's grab this prop. It's almost within arm's reach. Come here, little buddy. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I've always thought Tesla coils were cool, but I needed like a reason to get into them. So I was like, well, I've seen people build Thor hammers that can shoot lightning, but they're always like these massive, oversized, giant things. I'm like, what if you could do it in a small one? Like, what if you could actually have a movie accurate hammer and have it shoot lightning? And one thing I hadn't seen anybody else do is like, but what if you could plug a guitar into it and have it be a musical Tesla coil? So then it's like it's an amplifier for your guitar or whatever instrument you want. You can play music through your Thor hammer. So we printed this guy up and we've been experimenting with some different Tesla coils. We have made it so that we can actually fit multiple fairly powerful Tesla coils inside the hammer. So these guys will just slide into the cavity here. You close the whole thing up and you shoot lightning out of both ends of this thing.
Oh,
That's
holy
so
shit.
cool.
Here's the kicker though. The other thing I always saw with those hammers is like, all right, if you took one of those hammers and you tried to smash something with it with the Tesla coil in there, how many pieces would it end up in? So we're like, I want this thing to actually be able to break concrete and still shoot lightning. So we printed it in this stuff. This is thermoplastic. It's a thermoplastic polyurethane. So it's the same stuff as skateboard wheels. It's just like a printable version of it. So just strong as hell. Like we've actually taken this stuff and run it over with a car about 10 times and just pops back into shape every time. And if you print it thick enough, it's just, I mean, it's super hard. So I can take this hammer and I can smash it on cement all day long and it's not going to hurt it. So we got it up to that point. So we have the strength there. We can shoot the lightning out of it. And so we needed to, understand how Tesla coils worked and everything. So there's a bunch of them you can just buy on Amazon now that are little guys. This is actually one of the bigger ones. You can actually get one that's so small, it'll fit just in these hammer caps. And the cool thing with that is that it shoots like, this much lightning still out of it. So you're still getting maybe like 8 inches of lightning coming out of the end of it. And it's Bluetooth capable. So that means you can hook it up to your phone, play the theme from Thor or play the Immigrant song by Led Zeppelin and have that cranking out of your hammer as you're breaking and smashing stuff. But again,
what's the sound quality like?
It's like
you have to get a good speaker.
We'll try it here. I think this is within reach here. Yeah. Okay. What's cool is all these little Tesla coils use the same power supplies, so I can just use whichever one of these I want. We obviously can make it battery powered instead, and that's what it'll be inside the hammer, because I don't know, it's kind of lame if you're having to plug your hammer in all the time. I don't remember that scene in Thor where he's like carrying
Right.
around. So let's go ahead and juice this little bugger. Come here. Struggle. I feel like Dr. Brown trying to reach this plug. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we got this guy just to show you the lightning. Hopefully I don't fry my computer or my headphones doing this.
Oh my God, yeah, don't.
Is that a thing that might happen? Holy shit.
If you need to turn your setup around, you can.
No, we're all good. We're all good.
He did break your shit. Oh no, he did. He did. He broke his... I think it just muted him. I think you're okay.
I know. I think it just muted him.
Oh, did you? It looks like you just randomly muted. That's weird.
It says that his mic is not connected.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
It'll be all right.
Oh my god, I hope it's not fried. I hope it's just a disconnect and reconnect. It's okay.
Hopefully. It's so weird though. Like, yeah, I didn't know that might happen. So like, that was, wow. And I didn't come up with a backup plan for in case he broke his shit. So this is all we got.
He'll just he can show us everything without sound, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, you have to. Well, unless you have if he has his phone, he can turn on his phone camera or something. I don't know.
I decided to mute. You guys can hear me? You good?
Yes,
hear
we
you
can
now.
hear you.
I don't know what caused it to mute. I don't actually think that was the Tesla coil. I think, well, let's see. Let's find out.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh, there it
again.
goes.
Yep.
Yeah, it broke again.
It broke again. Well, at least now we know it's not gonna ruin it.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing it because literally, yep, I did. For whatever reason, it's almost like it's just doing it in the app. It's not even the computer that's doing it. It's like whenever I flip it on, that's the only place. I just got to do this one more time because I just want to see.
Oh, maybe it's a decibel thing. It's like muting you because the decibels are too high.
Maybe because it's so loud. That could be it. Yeah, that would make sense. Let's do it back a little bit. We're doing science here, right? Like this was a science.
Right.
Science.
Yeah, there it goes.
Huh. That's funny.
I think it's like a repetitive sound that's loud. It's like, oh, there must be a jackhammer outside of your window. We will mute your microphone so it doesn't disrupt the stream. Like that kind of thing.
There is like some echo cancellation shit and stuff that's built into the StreamYard app, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Let's see if I can get some more light back in here on you guys.
It is an impressive bank of 3D printers you got behind you too, by the way.
Yeah, I think we've got about a form of 14 here, so
we're not even looking at a quarter of it right now. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, it goes all along this wall. There's some resin printers over there. There's some resin printers over on the opposite side of the room. We'll see if as we progress, I can kind of give you guys the tour of the place too. So
yes, please.
Yeah,
just take over and do anything you want. Like I'm just
Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever questions you guys got for everything too. So I mean, like we have just so much stuff within arm's reach that's so cool. I mean, for the Thor fans again, we have Loki's scepter here. So this is not one that I made. This is one that I purchased, all stainless steel. So she's hefty and she can definitely shank someone.
It reminds me of that beginning of Aladdin, the movie Aladdin, and will not break, bam, bam, it broke. Just perfect timing with the clattering piece behind you.
Yeah, because it opens up, so she's hollow on the inside. And that's important and one of the reasons why we got it. Because again, with the theme of fire, if you watch the movie, you see that Loki's scepter shoots those big blue fiery blasts all the time. And we have the pyrotechnic chemicals to make those same blue blasts. So why not do it for real?
Exactly.
Oh wow. I don't know. Questions, geez. Like, yeah.
I mean, anything you guys have in particular that you want to check out or see, or I mean, I can just start pulling stuff out here and there because there's plenty to see.
Yeah, probably. The last time I went there, you had some cool magnet stuff too that you could probably show off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the levitation devices and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, if you have cosplay props, part of like the cool thing with that is how are you going to show these off to everybody when they walk in? And one of the coolest ways you could have it shown off would be maybe to just have it floating there in the air. So
fair point, right?
We have some devices that allow you to do that. So the devices that I'm using for this are devices that are used a lot of the time for like showing off your Nikes or something, I guess, is where they originated. So you can make your shoes kind of levitate in like a store display so that people can kind of see the beauty of your super expensive sneakers for the sneakerheads. And I have a little device here, so let's see if this is kind of tricky to balance sometimes. So we'll see. I'm going to try to levitate this little case here that we made that holds the little arc reactor that we printed. We actually made this whole case too. We have a laser engraver here, so we laser engraved the Stark Industries logo there onto the whole thing. And
We need a John type here for my I'm a member of a nonprofit makerspace, and like we have all kinds of really cool shit down there, but I don't think we have laser. Well, we have a laser cutter, but we don't have like the ones that can do metal and shit. So like I need a John here that will make our place cooler, because it's a nonprofit though, so there's not a lot of money. Otherwise we probably would have one, I guess.
Makes sense. Yeah, I do some consulting if you guys need that. Okay, so you're starting to see like kind of a little bit of the lab here. Okay, so there we're kind of levitating, kind of see it. Might have to move it back a little. Which way? Okay. Right is left, left is right. Everything I know is a lie. Okay. So let's turn that a little bit. Let's get a little light on that too. Let's actually elevate you guys just a little bit so you can kind of see. Let's go ahead and give that a little spin. So it'll just like spin there for hours. And we're actually.
So how does that work with the spinning? Why does it work that way?
There's an electromagnet up here, and it's pulsing on and off at a rate that like you can't really perceive. And there's a small fixed magnet that's just sitting inside the case right there. And it's just that push and pull up and down like right there that keeps it in stasis and keeps it from falling. And of course, we have one of these that we've cut this part off of, and we're putting weights on down here. And the idea is we should be able to have Thor's hammer just kind of suspended there, spinning and flying, because we won't have this kind of blocking where the handle should be at when it's in its proper place.
Right. Okay.
That'll look fucking cool.
Yeah, it'd be pretty neat to just have this guy just kind of sit there and spin.
Yeah.
Neat way to display it. And it can hold like a pretty decent amount of weight. It's like, I think it's at least a couple of pounds. And you could always run like two of them side by side too.
That's super cool.
That's so cool. How much is an electromagnet like that? Is it expensive?
I think if you get two of them, you get them a little bit cheaper, I think. I think they're like $80 when you buy them as a pair for each one.
That's
so it's
not bad.
Yeah, it's not totally out of people's reach at all. And there's tutorials where you can even learn to build them yourself if you really want to go that route. And in theory, you could actually get the levitation distance to be something like this if you use more sophisticated electronics. These ones are using like the cheapest possible stuff to make them work. But from like a theoretical, like how far can you push like a magnet and have it still hold something together, you could get a lot more distance than what they have here. And there's people on YouTube that have kind of shown that that's the case. So.
Wow. All right, before we carry on, shore up your ideas. We're going to take a very short commercial break here.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
Oh no, he's gone. Did he just like, and I was worried that he accidentally sucked himself into one of his inventions or something.
It happens sometimes. I could maybe not be heard from for days.
That's not science though. That's ADHD.
That's true. Good point.
And I know this because I too. Well, I have ADHD. I don't know if you have ADHD. I know a lot of people who have it.
I don't know that I've been diagnosed with it, but damn, like if I don't have it, like I would be surprised.
Yeah. Seems like it fits. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who's like, I've never been diagnosed, but all of a sudden I'm reading your shit. You know, you go to one of those forums that's just all ADHD people, and they're like, you know what? I think I might be.
When they have like the whole list of like, do you experience this? I'm like, yeah. There's like nothing on that list that isn't me. Damn.
Yeah. And you know, sidebar, like we're just going to go down this little road here quick, the scenic route. when you take the test for ADHD at a what do they call them now? They call them behavioral health, I think. It's stupid.
Clinics,
It's the regular doctor's office. It's not a special place. It's a regular doctor's office, and they have other people there that do mental health stuff. I like my place doesn't even have like a psychiatrist. Anyway, you go there and they give you this questionnaire thing, and it is not even close to like all the shit that it talks about. Like, does it ever feel like you're moving way faster, you're talking way faster than everyone else, or that you're ever talking so slowly that you think other people notice? That questionnaire, it's very dumb, and it doesn't even start to scratch the surface of the shit that actually affects your life when you have ADHD. It's like there's nothing in there about hyperfocus. There's nothing in there about doing shit like forgetting to eat for days on end, or like doing like human decision. Stuff. Yeah,
right.
Well, yeah, it's like no, it's totally not. Like you forget to eat or drink or obviously you can't not go to the bathroom. That one, your body does remind you, but it's very bad at reminding you to eat if you need to eat. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I a fucking monster right now? Oh yeah, it's because I haven't eaten in a day. And like, that's how it is. It's just very stupid. But okay, now back to the fun stuff. I just had to say it.
Yeah.
Because those tests are bullshit. They're just useless. But they're a good starting point, I guess.
You can at least get yourself like on the track to maybe get a little more support that way. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw a guitar. We saw a guitar before we did that now, right?
Yeah. I'll see if I can not totally like push the mic too far with that one, because that you can plug that guitar into that Tesla coil. This is the smallest one I have that will accept just a direct guitar plug-in into it. The smallest ones I have will only do Bluetooth, and you can use a guitar on that, but you'd probably have to be in another room because the latency will drive you absolutely nuts, where you like pluck a note or something and there's that little bit of delay. So you try to play a full riff or a song or something. You're like, oh my God, no, I'm having a stroke.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, not a good feeling. If you've ever done like those speech jammer things where you like read it and then you hear it just slightly delayed. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. There's like an app where you can do that and you can't make it more than like a sentence before you're just a raving lunatic from the sound of it.
Yeah, you can't keep doing it, right?
Right.
I always wanted to use that actually in my classroom. I wanted to see if I could sample kids that were talking when like they shouldn't be and we're just trying to talk over everybody else, so that they would hear themselves like on a speaker just out of phase. So then it's like you can't try to talk over people because it'll like sit there and stroke you out when you're trying to speak. So yeah.
I like this plan. I like that.
it's a way to keep order. Yeah. So another thing, this one's like, I'm going to say it's adjacent to fire. It is still kind of fire stuff. We've been doing a lot with artificial intelligence art, which of course is like a crazy hot button topic. And it's super fascinating, at least right now, with everything that's happening with it.
You could definitely get into some trouble with the right guests if we had the right other guests on here, because the comics industry has very strong feelings about AI art.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure that it does. But we're still exploring it here, like at this makerspace that we have. So this is like one of the pieces I had printed up on canvas. So this was, I can't remember what all the prompts were for this one. This one had a few. It was, like beautiful woman, flaming hair, rainbow colored fire, something along those lines for it. So we generated this one, and I thought it was like pretty darn cool. But then we were like, okay, it's cool to use one AI, but what if you have an AI make art based off of what another AI generates and get meta with it a little bit more? So I don't have the original picture up in front of me right now, but this is kind of the final version. So we used Midjourney AI in order to create latte art with a lightning storm inside of it. And then we took that art and put it into DALL-E, which then generated more variations on that art. And it generated this guy, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I
Wow.
expected, like, from an AI to another AI, it would get worse. You know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
would.
Actually, slightly better. The original one looked good, but I felt that this one looked way nicer. And I'm actually going to try and see if I can get some coffee shops in town. I was just going to give them this and be like, hey, would you just like hang this just for my own vanity or whatever? Even though I didn't
Right.
really make this was totally AI doing this. But yeah, I thought
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not like a broken telephone effect from an AI to another AI. I expected
You
it
would
to
think
be
so.
like, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Right. You just completely fall apart. I did take it one step further. I wish I had the image for that, and I put it back into the original AI after that, and it still was like cool art, but it was like Doctor Strange of coffee lightning latte art. It had fractured and was floating in different places and stuff. Looked really trippy and surreal, but it was still like cool. But this
That's
was my
cool.
favorite from the batch. I
It
Wow,
will
turned
say
out really
nice.
well.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that Midjourney was able to do this one. This is the one that blew my mind. I told it to do latte art inception, and it understood the assignment. It did your traditional like coffee latte art from above, right? Like someone would snap a picture, but it had latte art inside of the other latte art with another cup that had another thing in it. I was like, it understood that. Like that blew my mind. Like no
That's
other.
surprising.
That was it. Just inception coffee art, latte coffee
Yeah.
art.
I'm fascinated by the whole AI art thing. So despite understanding very strongly how it could take all of our jobs, but it is super freaking cool. And most of the stuff, because I've Midjourney, is that the one that you go and play on the Discord bot?
You got it. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one that I've been playing with, and most of the results tend to be kind of horrifying. So
They can be, yeah.
like you'll get a gem. It's you get rewarded more often than you do at a casino, at least, so that you aren't completely devastated by it. But it is funny that sometimes it'll freaking nail your prompts, and other times you're like, okay, what is this monstrosity that I've created?
Nightmare fuel. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised like with that Inception prompt you didn't get like some weird like Leonardo DiCaprio like
Right.
Inception movie like all fucked up with
Yeah.
coffee halfway through his skull and shit. Like cuz that's a lot of the shit I've seen, it just goes way off the rails. Like it doesn't that's amazing that it
That's
understood.
the thing. Like you just get lucky by just the right phraseology sometimes. So it's like the more you
Right.
use it, the more I think you get used to its weird syntax that it has that's going to give you the results that you want.
Right.
Oh, which brings me to another one that we have here. Let's see if I can make this work. So this one can like apply, I don't know, there's got to be some kind of cosplay application for this. But we made AI art, and then we took it and we projected it into what's called a lithophane. So if you're not familiar with that, you can do this in the 3D printing process. You basically, through the thickness of the image that you're working with, you create an image that's only visible on a piece of plastic when light shines through it. So you can take any kind of picture and do that. We learned recently how to do that on any surface that we want to. So we actually did it with one of these little jack-o'-lanterns here that I made. We did it, of course, in the traditional orange color, and we also did it in a glow-in-the-dark filament. So if I shine light through this, you should see an image of me that we did. And we used Stable Diffusion AI for this one, a local version of it that we could install onto a computer. The reason being is if you have it installed locally, you can train it with your own face. So we fed it like 30 pictures of my face, and it now could apply me to anything that it wanted to. So we did kind of a fantasy art style. I did all the pictures with an anime wig on. So I look like this anime king of a village there, of a place there. So let's see if I can make this one work. Let me just shut the lights off real quick. All right, moment of truth to see if this actually looks good on the podcast. I think it should, though. It looked good when we filmed it. Okay, so we got to dial down the lights a little bit here. Oh, it's almost showing. Let's try from back. It's all too bright. Let's try it with this one. Okay, that one's working pretty good. So if I can turn it the right way.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's pretty
Yeah,
freaky.
a little better
You
there.
just barely see it. Yeah.
So in person, obviously, you can see this a lot better, but you kind of get the idea with it. So yeah, you can put those images into whatever it is that you want that you print. I imagine there's got to be a cosplay application for that somebody hasn't thought of yet, that you can put any image into a surface that way. I mean, one cool thing I did see with a mask was you could scan somebody's face and have a 3D print of their actual face that you could wear around. And then you can do a lithophane underneath it of like a skeleton. So then like when you shine the light through, then you get like a skull or whatever that shows up in that place instead.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's one of the coolest applications I've seen for that. It's one of those things where I know there's got to be way more stuff that you can do with this that hasn't even been thought of yet. And you can do it in color too. There's a really cool way that you can do that.
There's got to be some kind of like magic runes or something that only appear when you know what I mean? Like something like that. There's got to be a costume like that.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, and
I think if you just have time to ruminate with that information, that somebody is going to come up with a really fucking cool idea for it. And hopefully that somebody is someone in your circle so that they'll tell you so that you can do the thing.
Exactly. So yeah, so there's that stuff obviously that you can do. We've built far more powerful Tesla coils here now as well. We have one that's much bigger, so it throws arcs that are about, where are my hands? There we go. So probably about like that big for the arcs, and it'll do full music and everything as well. You can plug your keyboard into it. And circling back to what you asked about a long time ago with us shocking ourselves with all the different Tesla coils that we had here. James, my buddy, and who's actually used to be one of my students way back in the day. It's funny because now we're kind of working together. It makes me kind of understand the Doc Brown and Marty relationship a little bit more, because I always thought that was a little weird. It's one of my favorite movies. It's like, how does a high school kid and this crazy doc, like, how do they ever get to hang out? That's weird. It seems like there's got to be something strange kind of thing going on there.
They should have made that connection with the teacher student thing though, because it's still a little weird. Like even when you see that Doc Brown is weird and cool, it's like, but why? But how did this begin?
So if you do want to know, like IDW did do a comic that's like an official one that is canon that explains like how that whole thing happened. And it was actually it was Needles from the series challenged Marty to break into Doc's place and steal some tubes, some vacuum tubes for his amplifier, because he played guitar and all of that stuff. And Marty went in there to break in and steal it, but he just has like a change of heart. He's like, I can't do this. I'm not an asshole. And like Doc sees kind of the whole thing play out in front of him. He's like, hey, I need somebody who can be like a camera assistant for this stuff. Would you help me out, kind of thing? So if you didn't know,
that's awesome.
That's the story.
Nice, yeah. Let's see if my library has a lot of comics. I might have to see if they've got that one or if they can get it for me. I don't have any money to be adding to my comics collection at the moment, unfortunately.
So the Tesla coils.
So yeah, shocking him. I had James and everything, who was one of my students before, who he said he'd never been tased or anything like that before. And we were just kind of trying to, do the first bigger video on his channel to have him do. And he's like, well, why don't I just try out all your different Tesla coils and see like how much each one hurts? They're not going to kill me, right? I'm like, probably not. Yeah. So we can try that. So we started with like this really tiny one that I have that, can shock you to music, which is funny. I want to refilm the whole thing for my channel where we actually have like a soundtrack of pain for the whole thing, because I thought it'd be kind of funny. Like if, you're getting shocked to like certain songs or something, or maybe like you're like getting shocked to the E note or something like that would make it a little more entertaining. Or scales, learn your scales through electrocution.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
But to just have each one of those coils in there. And so that's what we did, at least with this one, was we had progressively bigger and bigger ones that we went to until we got to this new one that we just built that will shock the shit out of you when you get hit with it. It's not going to kill you. It's just really, really unpleasant. And so, yeah, he took the hit for like each one of those, and comedy ensued. And there's a video up online of him doing that to himself, and me getting hit too, sometimes on accident, just from setting the dang thing up, because you get stray arcs here and there.
Right. So how does that work though when you have it set up with the hammer? Like, are you just getting shocked randomly, or is there a way to?
Yeah, no, it's a good question for that. So we figured out a way to kind of channel the plasma a little bit. When I first tried out this whole thing with the hammer, if you ran it for like 5 minutes with the lightning coming out of it, the end of the hammer would just start to melt, because the arcs were almost coming back into it because you're holding it with your hand. So you're kind of causing it to ground out. Even though it's made out of plastic, there's still little spots where it tries to reach ground. So what we found out we could do is Teflon is an incredibly good insulator against electricity. So we put Teflon tubing from the 3D printers, which we just happen to have laying around the little output needle at the top right here. So by putting that stuff on here, it kept the stray arcs from being able to go anywhere. And because they apparently have just so much force coming out in this direction as the electrons kind of leave the whole thing, they get ejected away from the hammer, and you just end up with long arcs coming out of the hammer. And you saw, like, I took the hits on my hand from that one. Like, this little one, it tickles. It's not a big deal. It's not making your arm numb. A big kahuna coil kind of does. That one makes you feel really unpleasant when you get hit by it. But this one, not a big deal. So yeah, just splash that stuff out of it. We were actually even thinking of having, because some of those coils are so small now, having one that is meant to arc back to your hand, like around the handle, that you could just toggle on and off so you could get that effect when you want it coming back to your hand. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Blitz from a Super fucks with lightning, right? Can you set up Lori's cosplay for like the lightning?
We've been talking about this a little bit before, and before I had kind of hit some walls with it where I was like, I don't know if it could be done without kind of putting fake hands on the end that are silicone or something to carry it, because your fingertips might still get it. But after playing with this Teflon in a few different forms and stuff, I actually think we could do it. And Lori knows this already because we discussed it, but you can actually make the lightning colored if you want. You can dial it into whatever color you want it to be. You just put some metallic salts on the end of the needles where the lightning actually ejects out, and you'll get the colors that you want. So for yellow, we could just put normal table salt on there, just sodium chloride, and you will get that yellow lightning. And that's something I want to play with all these Tesla coils, is that you can use all those different salts. So you can do like rainbow, lightning if you want to, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I eagerly await. And I think I knew that about the salt thing because stop me if I'm wrong, because we used to throw weird random shit into campfires to play with it. So I think that's why I knew that.
Yep.
But same concept, I guess.
Exactly the same, yeah.
But yeah, we're waiting for the video. We want the video yesterday. Where's the colored lightning?
I'm ready to get shocked. Test it out. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, Lori is you're a good guinea pig, I guess, for this.
Shooting
because
out of that hand,
you're willing to risk being shocked in order to make this happen.
Yeah, it's fine. My
so nonchalant. Yeah, it's fine.
My graduating year of high school, our chemistry project was a plasma globe, and we just made one ourselves. So there was some accidental shocking. I'm familiar with that. Yep.
Yeah, I think I mentioned last week, and like growing up on a farm, I've accidentally ended up shocking myself with many an electric fence, and those are extra fun because they're like the pulsing kind. It's not a steady shock. It's a zap 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 thing, and if you get a janky one, it's not necessarily an even rhythm. So fun.
I understand that one firsthand for sure. I remember when I was a little kid, I ran straight into one because I didn't see the wire, because it was just the electric fence wire, and it was an area where all the rest of the fence was down. So I'm this little kid just booking it towards the fence, and it hits me right here. Just right in the head, drops me to the ground. I'm like, I closed myself with an electric fence. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's happened to me several times, running because you didn't know the fence was there. And it's stupid too, because my mom was very insistent that Dad use those bright orange and yellow connectors on the stakes so that we could tell that there was a fence there. We're little kids. We're not looking for that shit. We're just running. And yeah, I remember getting hooked right here by a wire more than once.
It's horrible.
I don't think I ever got it across the middle of my head though, so that's something anyway.
I could have been like a YouTube millionaire if somebody had just gotten that on film. That's sad.
Right.
Where were iPhones when we were kids? Like, we would be fucking billionaires right now with all the dumb shit I did anyway. I mean,
yep.
I mean, if you were even half as inquisitive as a kid as you are now, like, I'm sure you got into some shit too.
I had friends that definitely, I think, were slightly worse. It's their influence, I think, that they got me there. There was a kid who took one of those like electrical transformers because we were getting into like playing with electronic stuff or whatever. This was in elementary school. He took both wires from a transformer and just jacked them into a plug in the classroom. And I saw that this was about to go down. I was like, oh, I don't want to be associated with this when it goes down. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't say anything, didn't tell the teachers, probably should have. But he shorted out power in the school and it was down for the whole day because of what he did. Like he did some kind of crazy damage.
Oh, so he was a legend then, because
yeah. That kid like fried it all. Yeah. I think everybody knew about him like in the nearby schools for like years to come even.
Wow.
That's amazing. So I saw you brought a guitar. Is that, we...
Yeah, let's give this a try and see if I don't knock out all the electrical
Let's
stuff.
see if we break everything, right?
Why not? Let's see. Oh, we need one of these cables. Yeah. All right. Plug this in. And then this goes into here. With that, plug in the guitar.
Yeah, we need an actual cinematographer to step back and film this, because there's no way that we're going to get all of the awesome in this, because I've seen the photos, I know.
Let's try that there. We'll move the mic. Okay. Get some sound coursing through this guy. And one last plug. Try not to tangle myself to death in here.
You got to get it to shoot fire while it's making the lightning. That's
step,
I guess.
I think.
Oh,
oops.
Hang on, you're muted. I don't know if you.
Yeah, maybe it is actually the sparks, because that one wasn't particularly loud. Right, we'll look for this.
Jeffrey does his ham radio stuff, and when he broadcasts at certain frequencies, the lights that are over there, like that, it's on the same wall as my aquarium and stuff, and the aquarium and the TV, they just go, ah! So I think it must be something similar there happening. This
thing's throwing all kinds of stray radio frequencies and things. I mean, this place has got to be a nasty soup. All right. Need a little less power on that, because that's actually cranked so high it's probably blowing itself out there.
Oh, it was working until right there, and then it muted. It's interesting when it decides to mute itself. I'm not sure the pattern.
I'm not either. That one's a little funny. So yeah, I mean, that gives you the basic idea for it, but yeah.
That is so fun. That's awesome.
I would have thought we would have seen this on, like, you've shown it to the world now, and we're gonna, like, that's gonna be the next weird thing you see at a concert with one of those big names, one of the selling out the stadium people. Nobody's coming to mind right now, but you know, those. That's what we're gonna see now, is lightning on the guitars.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Lori had it right too. You can combine fire with this as well. Because when you have fire, you can actually carry the lightning further too. So there should be the possibility of getting a little bit more bang for your buck out of the lightning. We found ways to cheat actually recently too. If you take really thin tungsten wire and hook it to the end of the part that leaves the arcs on this, you can actually carry your lightning through the air a lot further. So you can carry it about 4 or 5 times further than it normally is, like getting carried. and it's just like these little wisps of tungsten that are in the air. So what we can do with the Thor hammer is we can put that on the ends, and then nobody really sees those when you wisp it up, but it carries the lightning further through the air. So it's a way to take a little tiny cheater coil like this one and make it look like one of the really big coils. So,
Wow.
Without electrocuting anyone.
Exactly. Yeah. It's safe electricity. So yeah.
That's so
Nice.
cool.
Wow. I kind of wish we could keep talking about this crap. We'll just have to have a part 2 and coordinate it here so that we can see more of your stuff because we're out of time now.
Oh yeah,
And,
for sure.
And
If you
it
have
would
any
be-
last minute stuff that you want to show us real quick,
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What do we got? It's like a quick
I
little
don't know
thing.
what you have, but
make sure we know
Yeah.
what your YouTube channel is because we want to let everybody who's watching
Yeah.
be able to find your YouTube channel.
So it's a really easy one to look up. It's just Johnny Pyro. It used to be called the Alpha Pyro, but it just went with Johnny Pyro because it's just easier to tell people. Who knows? Maybe we'll change the name again, but that's what it is for now.
Well,
Yeah.
if you subscribe when it's Johnny Pyro, then we don't have to worry about you changing your name in the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
just
go subscribe now. It
Let's
doesn't
see.
matter.
All right, I got one thing over here that I'll show you guys. Let me grab it. Actually, I guess this is kind of two things, but here's this little guy. So let's see if he works. I'm gonna plug him in. These just work. And you go here. This one actually isn't mine. This is from another Fab Lab member. His name's Joey. So he built this little device here. Let's see if I can get it to point in the right direction. So you see these little vials, they have little LEDs inside of them, and they're wireless LEDs. So you don't actually have to plug them into anything. You just have to get them close enough to this little electromagnetic coil that this thing has in this little pouch. So he actually did a costume of an SPC character, and this just mounts like right on here, and all this, the little battery pack that it has on it all gets hidden away and everything. And he has other electromagnetic coils on his body. In fact, we have like one really big one that you can wear. So you can just hold these vials out a ways from it and they'll just light up in your hand. And he used a mineral oil fluid in it, which doesn't short out the electronics. So he can actually have like a vial of liquid that lights up. And he has just a bunch of different colored LEDs in there that light it up and look like little crystals inside. So that's a pretty cool thing for like any cosplayers out there to be able to do, where you don't actually have to wire anything together. You just buy one of these coils off of Amazon and plug it into a little phone charger pack, and away you go. And these phone charger packs are teeny tiny. I have one that's like the size of a credit card now. So pretty cool. And I guess for one last kind of thing, this is another person's project that they're putting together right now. This is like the full headpiece. So it goes on like your whole head. This is the Chainsaw Man, for anybody that's like into that manga, where your whole head is just this giant chainsaw. So I got a guy who's building that guy up here. So pretty
that's
sweet.
so cool.
And it's of course made with this TPU where you can't break the whole thing. And I'm rigging it up for him so that when the chainsaw goes, like it actually like spins up and everything, and we'll have like a little blood sprayer in it. So you just spray blood out of the chainsaw as well. Jessica Negri, I know she did this cosplay like recently, and I thought it looked pretty cool. It's like, I think we could actually get the chainsaw to work and spray blood, and that'd be really cool. So yeah,
Wow.
That's the thing.
Wow. That sounds pretty awesome. Can't wait to see it. Except for, I could imagine that taking like the blood spraying thing and using that at a convention might not. Like you'd have to ask permission before, make sure everybody was okay with that before you turn it on.
Yeah.
I can see some people reacting negatively to that.
Probably so. Yeah. Just do it in the
No,
alleyway.
it's
You'll be
amazing.
back in like 15 minutes. It's cool.
It's the risk you take. So, well, yeah, we'll definitely have to do a part 2 and like make a list of wild stuff that we want to see that you have available for us to have to check out. So we should talk about that.
Agreed.
And so for UHS stuff, tomorrow we're actually having a special, a Kickstarter, UHS Presents Kickstarter special, which is Badass Women in Kickstarter, on Kickstarter today. This is fun. This is fun.
You've been a trooper.
Well, now as I'm saying this, I'm like, well, maybe Lori's gonna have to do the Kickstarter without me because I can feel it going away. I'm like, maybe I'll just have to stand over a pot of boiling water or something. Maybe that'll help. I don't
Just
know.
have steam the whole time.
Yeah.
It'll add to the effect for sure.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
yeah, it'll be fine. So anyway, that's at a weird time tomorrow because it's a special. We're not going to be doing this every time. You know, it's going to be 7:00 Eastern. So join us then, and it should be up on your if you are following us on your social medias or your YouTube and Twitch. That's it.
Facebook.
Twitch and Facebook. Yeah, and it's because it's going to be on our channel because we don't want to interfere with the Agents of Geekdom because tomorrow is Morgan's Day. So we're not going to screw with Morgan's Day. But if you want to join us instead, then that's where we'll be. And then next week is a thing. Next week is Halloween. We're doing a Halloween thing. Unless I don't have a voice then still, then maybe we just won't have a Halloween show because holy shit, this is kind of getting a little bit gross. But other than that, yeah, thank you, John, for coming and talking to us and showing us some of your cool stuff. And
My pleasure.
and yeah, thank you everybody who stayed around to watch. And if you have questions or if you have stuff that you want to see that John might have, let us know in the comments because we'll ask John if he has that before whatever happens to be the next time that we invite him on to do more cosplay pyro stuff. And I think that's it. Is that it? I think that's it.
We got one
That's
last
it for
little
the night.
thing. You guys
So-
said that you wanted this mic to be able to make fire, right? So
There we go. And he broke it.
This
man.
poor microphone.
I hope it still works like when
I think
you're
it
done
works.
with
yeah.
it.
Listen up.
So, okay. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks, John. Go subscribe, youtube.com/JohnnyPyro, you said, right?
You got it.
All right. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. And, yeah. So bye.